One of the big parts of the Trump agenda, I should point out, is bringing manufacturing back here at home, right? That's super important to him, which is why Apple's getting a warning today, a warning direct from the president. Yeah, he's not too happy with Apple right now. By the way, if you're interested in investing, and you should be interested in investing, I want you to invest. And today is as good a time as ever. So go to 76research.com, use my code word dollar. Trump is ripping into Apple today. He put out something on Truth Social saying, you know what? We're going to put 25% tariffs on those iPhones if you're not going to make them in the U.S. Quote, I have long ago informed Tim Cook of Apple that I expect their iPhones will be sold in the USA and will be manufactured and built in the US, not India or any place else. If that is not the case, a tariff of at least 25% must be paid by Apple to the US. Thank you for your attention in this matter. Wow. All right. So, he's not kidding around. And Apple's a really important company, but a lot of their manufacturing, which was done in China, was being moved over to India. And he's like, no. You're not moving it to India. You're moving it here. Why? Because he wants high-tech manufacturing here in the U.S. These things are kind of important, right? Everybody's using them. Scott Bessent went on to Fox, actually, and explained this really well, our Treasury Secretary of the United States of America, and he said, listen, this is important because we need these high-tech manufacturing items manufactured back home.
Again, the president is trying to bring back precision manufacturing to the U.S., and I think that one of our greatest vulnerabilities, are this external production, especially in semiconductors, and a large part of Apple's components are in semiconductors. So we would like to have Apple help us make the semiconductor supply chain more secure.
That makes sense. Right? AJ pointing out here that you've got Trump playing chess, basically, while everybody else is playing checkers. I agree. And you know what? This had to happen at some point. You know me, I don't love tariffs, right? I don't, it's not my first place to go. What I'd like to see is a world where we have actually no tariffs and we're prioritizing everything that we can do here. I don't like the idea that, if you go overseas to Ireland and you're manufacturing there, or you have a business there, that you're getting a 12% corporate tax as opposed to a much higher corporate tax here. That didn't make any sense. In the first Trump administration, he fixed that. You know what he said? Hey, you onshore your stuff, I'll give you the tax break, you'll have a better deal here. It's important, by the way, that we get this extension of the tax cuts going through, and we're seeing some activity and some movement on that big, beautiful bill, right? But also you've got to think about, hey, if Apple can manufacture some of this stuff here, there will be cost savings because it's closer to home. So maybe you pay a little bit more in wages, but then when you're shipping out all these things, right, you're actually going to have some cost savings based on the fact that you don't have to send it as far. You're closer to your end use customer. And again, it comes back to national security. Maybe the socks and underwear, we can figure that one out. But when you're talking about high-tech manufacturing, that's an issue of national security. And we want to be in the best possible position. Speaking of which, tax policy is related to that as well, right? You just heard me talking about corporate taxes. Well, we need this big, beautiful bill. It's moving on to the Senate, and Donald Trump just saying a couple weeks ago, actually maybe about a week and a half ago, how important that was. And if you combine that with all the money he's bringing into the U.S., he's got $5.1 trillion coming from the Middle East. That was kind of a productive tour, wouldn't you say? Certainly more than anything the auto pen could have done. Anyway, here he is saying, listen, we get this big, beautiful bill done. We get all this money coming back on shore. We got a recipe for success. We are a freaking rocket here in the U.S. of A.
It's the biggest bill of its kind ever in the history of this country. And Speaker Johnson and Leader Thune have done an incredible job. I mean, I'll let you know, we have to get a vote, but we have a lot of support for that bill. And if that happens on top of all of these trade deals that we're doing, this country will hit a point that you better go out and buy stock now. Let me tell you, this country will be like a rocket ship that goes straight up. This is going to be numbers that nobody's ever seen before. That's a very important element of all of this. If we get that, If you don't, and the Democrats are fighting it only because they want to fight. They have Trump derangement syndrome. You know, if it was somebody else, they wouldn't fight. If you had a normal person, if you had some stiff sitting behind you, they'd be fine. But they have Trump derangement syndrome. You know, Senator Schumer's become a Palestinian. Welcome. I don't know when they're going to give him the ceremony, whatever the ceremony may be. But it's terrible what's happened to the Democrats. So very, very important element of everything, of what we're doing.
Yeah, right? Like it's taken off. We got a market that's down lower today, in part reaction to that threat of tariffs on Apple. And of course, Apple's a big component in so many of the indices. But I would just say, look, I think they're going to figure it out. I think that Tim Cook is going to find a way to make sure he avoids the 25% tariff. I want to go again to the point that he's making, Donald Trump is making, about all the success overseas and the trillions of dollars that he's back with from the Middle East.
We've had a very, very big week. You saw that. We got back from the Middle East and we brought $5.1 trillion back with us. We had tremendous. Our country, let me tell you, our country is hot. Our country is hot, and hot as it can be. It's amazing. If you go back 6 months, it was cold as could be. It was an embarrassment what was happening. And now I think we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. I don't even think it's close. I was told that also in the Middle East. The three rulers, three very good men that were very nice to us, they said this is amazing, the transformation of the United States of America. They've never seen anything go so quickly. And it's literally over a period of 4 or 5 months, but really since November 5th. And I think we have the hottest country in the world right now. So we're doing well, and we'll keep it going. And we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to make a lot of people happy, a lot of people well. That's why we're here.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so market's down a little bit. What did I do? I bought because I always buy when the markets go down. It's just kind of... I was telling Rob, my colleague at 76 Research the other day, I think this just got ingrained in me from the time I was a little kid. I grew up in a small town in New Hampshire. We were fine, but we didn't have a lot. And we would shop at Marshall's always for all our clothes. I mean, only Marshall's. And I remember being in Marshall's as a little kid with my dad. And he said to me, "Hey, Trish, come over here to the clearance rack. Clearance, remember, clearance is the best brand." So for years, like I thought clearance was a brand like Chanel or Ralph Lauren, you had to shop on clearance. So that got kind of ingrained in me, I think, from a very young age. So to this day, like I look, okay, Apple's a little bit on clearance today. So these are the kinds of opportunities that I welcome, and it's served me well over the years. I encourage you to get my research with my colleague, Rob Horton, who spent 20 years trading billions of dollars on Wall Street. Go check this out at 76research.com. Use my code word dollar because that's the introductory rate. It's only $1 a month and you can cancel anytime. No harm, no foul. But hopefully we can help you figure your way out around this stock market and get some stuff on clearance, right? Clearance is a good thing. I want to get to another big story here because I don't know how many of you have ever seen this, probably only here on my show, but Michelle Obama now has a little podcast for herself, and it's like just bad. Like everything about it is just bad. I'm like, how did this woman ever, like what? Again, like, maybe just try and go off into the sunset and actually try and repair whatever's going on in your marriage, because clearly the marriage is not going so well. No. And now we have new proof, like this is completely on the skids. I actually think that they're probably going to wind up divorced somehow, some way. I mean, maybe financially it's too complicated for them, but listen to what she said. It's like weird. Jesse Waters picked up on this. Michelle is moving on. She's moving on, at least mentally in her head, and she's got someone that she's sort of picked out. A young guy, a billionaire guy, the Airbnb guy. Can't make it up.
That's Brian Chesky, Airbnb CEO, tech billionaire. He's got a spare room, and Michelle's mentally moving in.
You know, I have to say, Brian, if I'm a single girl out there and I find out that Brian Chesky is single and I can like stay in his house,
Here she
have
goes.
you ever?
Go
There you
right,
go.
right to the relationship, but Brian, you don't have to be feel pressured.
No, but we've never talked about
he
this.
just got here.
Have you
Her
ever?
and her husband have tried to set me up before, so
Yeah.
What is that? Like, seriously, what is that? Is she trying to like come across as somehow a hot lady that can like get a younger guy? I don't know. I just think their marriage is over. I think they are completely done. She's moved on to this podcast with her brother. It meanders a lot. And she's also working on a dating show for like people her age. Obama, Barack. I think she's giving you a hint. I really do. Here's the new Netflix show coming out.
Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle Obama, and I'm an executive producer for Later Daters. It's a fun new dating show from Higher Ground on Netflix. Now, I believe that all of us deserve love and a chance at finding happiness, no matter how old we are. No one has missed the boat. It just hasn't shown up. And Later Daters follows a group of adults over the age of 50 as they work with a dating coach to find their perfect match. You can stream it now on Netflix. So I hope you'll check it out this holiday season and let me know what you think.
Later daters. Okay, Michelle, it's all tailored right for you. You can get your own dating coach and move on from Barack. I don't actually think that show has actually made it to air. I think that was like a promo, but then it never actually happened. So now she just goes on and laments about her love life. Of course, you know, apparently Barry has moved on. And interestingly, to a woman, kind of a woman who's, I'm just going to say, like, she's like, I realize she's older now, but she's like way out of his league, like way out of his league. I'm talking about Jennifer Aniston. Jennifer Aniston, who apparently had to go on her friend Jimmy Kimmel's show to actually deny the rumors that she and Barack were, you know, a hot and heavy item.
A magazine that came out a couple of weeks ago, In Touch.
Okay, so this is really hard to hear, so I'm just going to sort of narrate for you. This is the In Touch magazine. They wrote the truth about Jen and Barack, and she's sitting there going, I can't believe this, I can't believe this. Of all the things like your PR person calls you about to find out that you're having some kind of an affair with Barack Obama, give me a break. Like, now I've heard it all. There's no way. I actually know Michelle better than I know Barack.
And then it's that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to say I find it hard to be true only because I'm not so sure he's like into, well, I'm not so sure he's into her, and I can't imagine why she'd be into him. But I do think that Michelle is looking around because, you know, she's a black woman, and as a black woman, she just hasn't been able to find her voice until now.
We don't articulate as Black women our pain because it's almost like nobody ever gave us permission to do that.
And does anyone care?
Yeah, there's
Will
that.
they care?
If
that
we
part.
knew, I think we would care. If we knew.
Mm-hmm.
If we knew.
Or, you know, yeah, and we have to ask ourselves, the men in our lives is, you know, why wait to be asked? You know, it seems like what we go through is pretty obvious. I mean, maybe we're not complaining, but we're actually living life out loud, you know? You know.
You know, I'm really just lusting after that. What's his name? I wanted to call him Barry. What's his name?
That's Brian Chesky, Airbnb CEO, tech.
Okay, all right, Brian Chesky. All right, that's who she's after right now. Because, you know, as a black woman, we don't express our pain enough. We just kind of roll with it. We kind of take it. And so we need to be different. Oh, and this is why I decided to miss the inauguration. She hasn't filled us in on why she decided to miss Jimmy Carter's funeral. But apparently this is the whole reason behind her not showing up at the inauguration, because she needs to prioritize herself. Me.
And so practicing no in a very different way intentionally. But then this is what makes it hard because, you know, my decision to skip the inauguration what people don't realize, or my decision.
Michelle, that has some music in it, so we want to be careful with the copyright issue for all our friends here in the music world. She went on to say that she decided to miss that because, you know what, she just didn't feel like it. And she needed to prioritize herself. And, as a Black woman, she's not prioritizing herself. And so things need to change, blah, 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 blah. And that's how she gets to the decision to actually skip the inauguration for the 47th president of the United States of America. I mean, give me a break. Come on. She's just such an unbelievably selfish person who clearly doesn't think that she has to do squat. She's a lazy lady who doesn't think she actually has to play a role, given that she is an important part of history. I mean, her husband was the first Black president of the United States of America. By the way, the next time somebody thinks that, the U.S. is a racist country, I'm sorry. And granted, I get it. There are pockets of it, but hey, we elected Barack Obama twice. And she was part of that history. She is part of that history. She's forever part of that history. So to ignore any kind of your duties as first lady, that's not cool. Just because you don't feel like doing it and you feel like as a Black woman, you just had to go along the whole way. I'm sorry, Michelle. You know what? We're just over it. We're all over it. You know what? I don't feel like having to make dinner for my kids tonight, but guess what? I got 3 kids and I make them dinner. Okay? There's just the reality of life. You were the first lady of the United States of America, the most powerful country in the world, for 8 years. You have a certain responsibility. 1, to show up at Jimmy Carter's funeral. You don't say you're on an extended vacation, for goodness sakes. And 2, to go to the inauguration. Come on. It's not that hard. But apparently for this lady, my God. How did they get elected, you guys? Really? How? Tell me. I want to know. Also, nobody's watching that show. The ratings are absolutely miserable. Once again, another podcast bites the dust. She has something in common with that Meghan Markle, who poor Harry really never should have gotten involved in. I'll tell you, the one thing you can control, a little bit of life advice here, is who you marry. Right? You can't control who your family is. You're born into this world, however it may be. And some of us get lucky and some of us not so lucky. But the one thing you actually can have a say in is who your spouse is. And so it's a really important decision. Really, really important decision because it has such a massive effect on the rest of your life. And you look at poor Prince Harry, and let's just say he made the wrong decision. Oh, we have Memorial Day weekend coming up. I'm still going to be here on the channel with a lot of content coming your way. I may even be live again on Monday, but I just want to thank all our veterans and all the amazing, amazing people that have sacrificed their lives to give us this opportunity that we have to be here as free Americans today. So my heart goes out to all of them. My father's a veteran. My father-in-law, God rest his soul, was a veteran. And look, if it weren't for people like that, people willing to give their lives for us, we wouldn't be what we are. So remember that. When the left tries to go all woke and somehow disrespect and hate on America and hate on our great values, remember who you are, who we are collectively together as a nation, and have an enjoyable, wonderful, memorable Memorial Day weekend. I'll see you right back here live on Monday.